How's it going, My Squids? So today we're going to be going over 5 solo Warframes that are just top notch and doing whatever it is you need to do, whether it be surviving, defense, sneaking, or doing rescues, or just whatever. And this is also endgame Warframes as well, things that you can use in level 100s, etc. So just bear in mind that this is kind of subjective, and the whole game just in general is subjective. Warframe, you can legitimately play any Warframe you want. There are Warframes that are better for certain scenarios, in my personal opinion, and I'm sure in a lot of other opinions. But you have to understand that there are Warframes that do have like specialties in what they're good at, and they have very different scenarios that they can be used in, and they're very good at it. So just bear that in mind, that everything I'm gonna say is subjective, and somebody else might have a different opinion, and that's perfectly fine. When it all comes down to it, Warframe is how you want to play. If you want to play Wukong for the rest of your life, you can do that, and it still works. It legitimately still works. Will I do that? Probably not, because I don't think he's that good, but that's just a matter of opinion and play style. Alright, that's enough justifying my opinions here, but anyway, let's jump into it. So coming in at number 5 is going to be Ivara, and to me personally, this one is one of the first Invis Warframes I got. She was super fun to play, and I thought that she had incredible solo capability when you put the lens on her. She's actually retarded busted. If you put the lens on her with the silence mod in order to keep her invisible the entire time, you can just throw up a dash wire, sit wherever the hell you want in a survival or defense, and just be invisible the entire time, and just fire the lens over and over and over again, and clear mobs left and right, especially on defense, considering that they all pile up on top of the little cryopod. So pretty much all you got to do is throw up a dash wire, sit invisible, and then just sit up there and rain hell from above, and just boom, 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 everybody's gonna just explode immediately. Not only that, but her capabilities of completing the sortie or any other higher level missions is super, super, super valuable, because if you have to do a rescue, if you have to do like a hacking thing, if you've got to do anything that involves just being sneaky or that benefits from being sneaky, she is pretty dominant in that area. I know that there's a big discussion between like, oh, who's better, Ivara or Loki? In my personal opinion, Ivara is better, but I like Loki because he's faster than Ivara. But I like Ivara because her invisibility is tied to how much energy she has and efficiency and duration, but Loki's is to a time. So it just kind of like, there's a big debate, and personally they can't really debate it. They're two different Warframes, they with just a similar ability, but they work differently, so comparing them is kind of stupid. But for the most part, Ivara, in my personal opinion, I just like her a lot better. I think that she's super good, and for pretty much as an all-purpose Warframe, including being the best at being sneaky, she's just invaluable, and you probably should have her in your arsenal just to make sure you guys can get through that late game, like hacking stuff, sneaking stuff, all that. All your sneaking needs, Ivara can handle it. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Nidus. This dude, I am not a fan of Nidus at all. I actually hate this Warframe, but the fact is, I appreciate what he can do, and I recognize that he's an amazing solo Warframe. I'm not a Nidus fan because I just don't like all that crazy, like, you have to throw this ability, you have to use this ability next following it, and then you have to stack this. It's just not my playstyle. I just want to murder everything in the blink of an eye. That's my playstyle. I either want to fucking punch people with Atlas, or I want to blast people with Mesa's guns. Like, it's just one of those things that I'm a simpleton. I don't value overly complicated things. It's just not in Warframe. That's not my game. But the reason I even decided to put him on this list is because he's got amazing survivability and crazy crowd control and damage. There's just no getting around it. Whether I like him or not, it doesn't matter. He still can do whatever he wants. If I took the time and effort to appreciate him and put him into practice, which I have, it's just one of those things that he's invaluable. You pretty much, if you're not playing Nidus, then what are you doing? He's just super good. He can heal himself. He's got crowd control, and if you get the one of his mods that are personal to him, then you can basically explode his little, I don't even know the moves or whatever the fuck it's called, but pretty much he can just destroy anything and live forever. He's almost like just invulnerable if you play him properly. Not only that, mixing him with a squad is pretty gross, because with a bunch of crowd control plus damage plus healing, I just don't really know what else to say. Nidus is gross, and you should probably be playing him. Coming up next is Excalibur, my personal favorite, who I'm playing a lot right now. He's just, he for being a beginner Warframe, he's extremely gross. All his abilities are just so good. Every single one of them all have a use. You know how like some Warframes have like pretty shitty like abilities, like Ivara, like, oh hey, you can guide an arrow and shoot it around the corner. Like, that sounds cool on paper, but in practice, it's like, why am I doing this? This is a waste of time. You know, like, it's just, some Warframes have just shitty abilities. Excalibur, all of his abilities are completely useful. He's a DPS Warframe with a lot of CC, with a lot of burst damage, with just everything that he can do is absolutely disgusting. You put Chromatic Blade on him and you can do corrosive damage all day. It's just a super gross Warframe that you can basically do whatever you want. He's not the tankiest in the bunch, but I will say that he doesn't really need to. When you use his first ability, when he dashes, he's actually invulnerable during the dash. So he kind of is invulnerable for a certain period of time. If you keep chaining your first ability, you can pretty much murder an entire room by yourself and be completely invulnerable while doing it. Atlas is the same way, which is why he's also on this list, but we'll get into that here in a second. But basically, Excalibur is just an invaluable solo Warframe, being able to kind of be invulnerable for a certain period of time while dashing. Not to mention, if you pair him with Chromatic Blade and you use your fourth ability, you're able to just kind of clear rooms, clear waves, do whatever you want, murder bosses, Noxes, level 100s. It really doesn't matter. Pair this up with Corrosive Projection and Chromatic Blade, you might as well just say, hey, I beat the game. Like, I actually beat the game. It's over. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Rhino. This is another personal favorite. I don't really use him a whole lot, but this was, he holds a place in my heart because he was one of my first Warframes when I was starting on PC. He was an extremely good Warframe. Having that crowd control, having the iron skin, which you never die. He's so strong. He has this ability to just basically stay alive through whatever you want. It's just like he could stand still for an hour as long as you have energy and you be fine. Like you straight up be fine. Like there's nothing that can kill this man. He's just busted. Not to mention when he stomps the ground, it's the biggest range in the fucking world, and he just knocks everybody up, and then you can just murder everything. It doesn't matter. His just abilities are super valuable, especially Iron Skin, because that's what allows you to basically live through everything. There's not really anything else that is more valuable than that. Some of his other abilities are kind of trash. Like his first ability is okay in my personal opinion, but it's also kind of trash because like whoever just rams people with Rhino, it just seems weird. But comparatively to his other abilities, they make up for it. Having crowd control plus Iron Skin, it just makes sense that you should have Rhino, because even if you don't have him primed, regular Rhino is like super nasty in general, so it honestly doesn't matter. Just Rhino in general is hella gross, and you should definitely have him on your roster as well, primed or not. And coming in at number 1, which is my main rock squid, is Atlas. Atlas, to me right now, even with the rework that kind of made him slightly more complicated than he needed to be, is fine. They didn't really change anything. He still pulls out massive DPS. He still can survive just about anything and everything. His 1 works the same way as Excalibur's first ability, which basically if you punch somebody, or if you're playing Excalibur, slash somebody, you're invulnerable for the duration of the ability, which is super nice because you can basically just chain the ability back to back to back, and you just don't die. It's gross. Like, what do you do against that? Not to mention that you can use his trump wall to go ahead and block off areas, and then you can just kind of sit behind it and farm like legitimately anywhere. And then you can also use his third ability to petrify the wall and petrify enemies to get more armor. It's like, what do you do? Like, he's just such a everything about him is survivability and damage. He's a tanky ass Warframe with immense, and I mean immense, damage. There's not really much you can do against Atlas. It's just you die. If you guys are having trouble killing the Stalker, play Atlas. He'll like 2-shot him instantly. If you guys are having trouble beating level 100s, play Atlas. He'll 2-shot them immediately. Atlas is just one of those Warframes that can legitimately do anything and everything in the game with little to no issue, and it's just absolutely gross, and I highly recommend you play Atlas. I know some people have problems with the way he looks, and that, like, oh, he's got fucking bacon nipples. Like, man, fuck you, alright? Who cares? I've already made an entire video. I'm not going to go into it. It upsets me, but Atlas is dope, and he's one of the top Warframes. I don't care what anybody says. Atlas is dope, and deal with it. But that concludes today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.